I've looked into it again and again. Please do not take them as academic options. They are real policy options. It may continue to stall negotiations all by itself and continue to face isolation. This is already Pakistan is doing. Number two, it may explore to co-opt other potential opponents of the FMCT and enhance its bargaining position to negotiate favorable position for Pakistan, as Dr. Tanveer Ahmad Khan has mentioned. But we have limited leverage to us for any kind of advantages in the negotiations. Number three, it may allow negotiations to proceed and cast a negative vote to stop it becoming an FMCT. We cannot be alone, but we can still stop the FMCT becoming a treaty. So please realize the difference between stalling negotiations and if our national security interests demand that there will not be an FMCT, it will not be there in the CD if Pakistan casts a negative vote. Number four, it may engage a collaborative campaign if the FMCT is taken to UN General Assembly and attempt to block its approval like it has been opposing India's entry in the UN Security Council. As it already been stated that Hillary Clinton has said it, that we are running out of patience. And if Pakistan does not end its opposition to restarting the negotiations, we might take it to the UN General Assembly. What would Pakistan do in that case? Our option would be either to stop it passing through the UN General Assembly, which may or may not succeed. If it succeeds, we still have the option not to sign the FMCT. Like we have not signed the NPT. 192 nations have signed the NPT, we haven't signed it. So what heavens have fallen on us? No problem. A lot of sanctions we had it, but we were able to withstand it. So we have layers of defense against the FMCT. So I do not find a point why should we hold negotiations on the FMCT. Let's see what comes out of the negotiations. And if there's something against us in the negotiations, we can still cast a negative vote. And I will show you there will be other negative votes in the CD on the FMCT. Number five, it may not sign the FMCT even if it is passed through the UN General Assembly, bypassing my recommendation. 2 sentences. Pakistan should drop its opposition to resumption of negotiations and work on the remaining options. We have layers of defense even if we drop the restarting of negotiations. And there's no point in standing alone when we do not have 2 determining factors how long we can stand against this isolation. They would either take it to the UN General Assembly and get it passed. Secondly, more negative would be it would be a major damage to CD if the rule of consensus is violated. If they change the rules and consensus is no more required, Pakistan opposing it would have no meanings. So I think we should logically see what are the options available to us, cool-mindedly analyze it and see what it is. There's no point in this rhetoric being repeated again and again and again. We can alone stand against the whole world. Many people in this hall are very good colleagues of mine, very senior students, others. They know my position. I'm not a pro-US person. I'm not a pro-Western person. I'm so well known to be it. So I'm not saying it that to appease the West or to appease the United States, we should continue to stall negotiations. We are getting nothing out of stalling negotiations. And we lose nothing by negotiations to be restarted because of the other options that we have, and we have mentioned that. So please have it a cool-minded analysis, and then we go for a consensus what should we do about the FMCT. I'm sure in the afternoon session we will have people which are going to argue, I'm sure otherwise, that we should not allow the negotiation to take place, but we should have a consensus on that. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. The strength of this seminar that there is diversity in perspectives, how best to promote Pakistan's nuclear diplomacy and our national security interests. And I think in that spirit this debate should take place. I just like to add a couple of things. One is that now it seems very clearly that it was a mistake on Pakistan's part not to have opposed the Indo-US nuclear deal. We allowed India a major pass when the US nuclear deal with India in 2005 was a violation of not only the NPT, but also a violation of US laws, the Glenn Amendment and the Samington Amendment. And that is why the US laws had to be changed to accommodate that, because they could not have cooperation between a nuclear weapon state which had not signed the NPT. And so, at the end, this US-India nuclear deal, the focus is not nuclear energy, although that is the stated purpose. The focus was China, because India only has about 4% of its energy being spent through the nuclear sector. So the focus has been containment of China, and that is why in the passage of the deal, you could see that the focus was very strategic. Condoleezza Rice worked very hard on that. And I think that even now we can see that when India had an ugly missile test, around the same time when North Korea had this integrated test, the contrast was interesting because the US State Department spokesman even went to the extent of making a misstatement that India has a solid track record in non-proliferation. Although India itself has been sanctioned a few times, like Pakistan has been, like other countries, on the nuclear field. In February 2003, India was sanctioned, one Indian entity was sanctioned by the US State Department for covert collaboration with Iraq. And in September 2003, 2 Indian entities were sanctioned by the State Department for covert collaboration with Iran. So people do have short memories, and I think it's important to understand the focus of that. I think in this 3 presentations, 3 outstanding presentations, I would say, 3 scholarly and informative presentations, we got a rundown on the basic principles of Pakistan's nuclear program and policies. That the program has been a reaction to India. The program is India specific, and I totally agree with Uma when she said it's nothing to do with religion or anything, it's everything to do with the security of the state in South Asia. So it's in that context. It is specific to India, specific to South Asia. And we have a solid, impeccable track record of promoting nuclear safety standards, nuclear security safeguards, under a very impressive regime, which has a large number of specialists and soldiers guarding this program. So there's no threat to that. And in this regard, this command and control system is also extremely transparent. Another thing I'd like to add is that now there is one nuclear area where with India we have had a very consistent and a good relationship. Because this agreement was signed in 1985. An agreement by India and Pakistan not to attack each other's nuclear installations and to exchange lists of each other's nuclear installations every year on the 1st of January. And this is predates when we went nuclear. Despite the crisis, despite difficulties, this has been followed religiously by both sides. And this is one agreement along with Simla and the Indus Waters Treaties, which has been very strong and consistent.